Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. I am your Heavenly Father, Kevin Williams, and here is El Presidente.
Our continued progress against the China virus. I'd like to discuss our latest actions against the Iranian regime. Today, I'm directing the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, to notify the UN Security Council that the United States intends to restore virtually all of the previously suspended United Nations sanctions on Iran. It's a snapback, not uncommon. 2 years ago, I withdrew the United States from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, which was a product of the Obama-Biden foreign policy failure, a failure like few people have seen in terms of the amount of money we paid for absolutely nothing.
Well, it was a deal, not a failure. It was a product of a deal. I mean, you made the deal. If you don't have a deal, you've failed.
And a short-term deal. This deal funneled tens of billions of dollars to Iran, 150 billion to be exact, plus 1.8 billion in cash, which I don't know that the president had the authority to give, but gave 1.8 billion in cash.
Nobody takes cash anymore.
Just another great deal that turned out to be a total disaster. That would have
That wasn't really a great deal then. Just another great deal. It was the best deal that turned out to be a total disaster.
Funded all of the chaos and the bloodshed and the terror in the region and all throughout the world. And I won't say anything because I don't like saying it, but
he's going to say something. He's going to say something.
Iran doesn't have so much money to give to the world anymore, to the terrorists, to give to Al-Qaeda and various other the groups of people that they were funding. They have to keep their own regime together, and it's not easy for them. And
it's not easy being a regime.
If and when I win the election, within the first month, Iran will come to us, and they are going to be asking for a deal so quickly because they are doing very poorly. But that deal was a disaster. 150 billion.
30 days. The other day, he guaranteed it would be 30 days that he would have a deal done with Iran. He said 4 years, but 30 days right after the election. So by Christmas. And then we're going to get our free, super duper health care within 11 days. 2 weeks in September of 2019 and June of 2017.
$1.8 billion in cash.
Did he just say 1.5 in?
And we got nothing except a short-term little deal. A short-term, expiring. It's starting to expire already. It's terminated, but it would have, if we didn't terminate it, start to...
It's terminated, but it's soon to expire.
To expire very shortly. A good deal was the deal we made with UAE and Israel. And by the way, other countries, I will tell you now, want to come into that deal. Countries that you wouldn't even believe want to come into that deal.
I wouldn't.
And all of a sudden, you're going to have peace in the Middle East. And you couldn't have done it with this ridiculous Iran nuclear deal, as they call it, that President Obama made, along with Sleepy Joe Biden. I imposed the toughest ever sanctions on Iran. And this has caused great difficulty for them, giving money to terrorist organizations. And if they do, they'll have hell to pay. Earlier this year, I ordered...
They'll be paying hell, 1.8 billion in cash.
The strike.
Hell doesn't take checks.
Strike that took out the world's #1 terrorist, Qasem Soleimani, in addition to previously terminating leader and founder of ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the two leading terrorists by far in the world, the founder of ISIS. Nobody even talks about that. And
he took out Hillary Clinton?
And we also defeated We now have 100% of the ISIS caliphate in Syria. When I took over, it was a mess. It was a total mess. They were all over the place.
This is just a response to the DNC last night. That's all this is so far. So whatever Barack Obama says today, we're going to see the response to that tomorrow. This is a White House official conference, by the way. You're paying for this.
My administration will not allow this.
Obama and Hillary were co-founders of ISIS, David. That's where the error comes in. It's a common mistake.
Iran nuclear situation.
Al-Baghdadi Bukhari was the Bukhari Sellers was the treasurer, I believe, at the very beginning. They brought him in. They needed the cash because they had to pay 1.8 billion with a T in cash to Iran.
To go on. They will never have a nuclear weapon. Iran will never have, mark it down, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
They will, and in 1,000 years, all you're going to have is wheels and walls everywhere. Just wheels and walls. You're not going to recognize a place, just wheels and walls.
When the United States entered into the
al-Baghdadi Yosemite. So if I worked at the White House, you better believe, Doctor, there would be. It was Babe who said that. That would be on the teleprompter phonetically at some point. And then we had the bold leadership of taking out al-Baghdadi Yosemite.
Iran deal. It was clear that the United States would always have the right to restore the UN sanctions that will prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. We paid a fortune for a failed concept and a failed policy, a policy that would have made it impossible to have peace in the Middle East. Here at home, through Operation Legend, we are confronting the wave of crime in Democrat-run American cities. That's absolutely shocking. When you look at Portland or New York, San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago, sometimes Los Angeles, Democrat-run cities, they're a mess because they don't get it. Either they don't get it or there's something that nobody else understands. We've deployed more than 1,000 additional federal agents to help these Democrat-run disasters. We just have done this. We have to give them a hand.
Good.
And we can stop it immediately, like Portland would be so easy to stop. We'd stop it immediately. We only sent in some Homeland people who are great, by the way, to save the courthouse because it would have been blown up or burned down. And they did that very easily.
Because they use commercial-grade fireworks.
But if we were called upon, we would send in, whether it's Homeland, whether it's FBI, whether it's just law enforcement, and we'd send them in quickly. We would eradicate it just.
So Homeland Security or FBI or just law enforcement. You know, generic law, organic law enforcement.
Like happened in Minneapolis. As soon as they were called in, they should have been called in a lot sooner. You would have had far less damage. Today we announced that Operation Legend has successfully resulted in nearly 1,500 arrests already. Bad ones, really bad people. Prosecutions and prison sentences will follow, and they'll be a very long time in prison for what they've done to these cities.
That's not his decision.
Most cities are well run. Most of the nation is well run. And the area.
Vast majority of cities larger than 1,000 people have Democratic mayors.
Areas that we're talking about are all, in all cases, run by Democrats, usually radical left-leaning Democrats, like in New York or in Portland.
Can you really be radical left-leaning? I mean, doesn't radical in itself imply you've already leaned all the way over?
We've made arrests in Kansas City, Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, Milwaukee.
Yeah, Tim, welcome, by the way. He has no idea what he's reading. He hasn't seen any of this before. It's all just verbal kitty litter. Hi, Goldie Gareza.
St. Louis, Memphis, and Albuquerque. for many violent crimes, including gun crimes, arson, and 91 murders. We're also using the full power of the federal government to defeat, as you know, the China virus. New cases have declined in 80% of the jurisdictions in the past week. 80%. New Zealand, by the way, had a big outbreak. And other countries that were held up to try and
9 cases in one day in New Zealand, so
make us look not as good as we should look, because we've done an incredible job, but they're having a lot of outbreaks, but they'll be able to put them out, and we put them out. The hospitalization rate has fallen in our country, 54% since its peak in April, 54%. Older Americans are still the most vulnerable to the virus. 92% of deaths have.
New Zealand they're up to 12 new cases yesterday. 12 new cases in New Zealand yesterday. And in the United States, probably 15 to 20. Hold on. United States, let's just look at new deaths. 1358 in the United States. So 12. So that's how it goes in counting. It goes 10, 11, 12, 1358. So we're right there, really, with New Zealand. But we have a bigger population.
Occurred among those 55 and older. Only 2.7% of deaths have occurred among those 44 years. Think of that, 44 years and younger. So 44 years old and younger, only 2.7% of deaths have occurred. And many of those people had pre-existing conditions, they had problems, heart, diabetes, and other problems, but many of those. So think of that, only 2.7% under 44 years of age. Excess mortality in Europe this year is 33% higher than the United States. Evidence that the tragic cost of this virus is higher.
So 4,700 people. That's it. That's,
In other Western nations. South Korea, you've been reading about South Korea doing well. Well, they just had a very big breakout, but they'll be able to solve the problem. We must all remain vigilant.
246 new cases in South Korea yesterday. Oh my God, they had a death yesterday, everyone. South Korea had a death. Did you hear? A death.
And continue to exercise extreme caution around those at highest risk, as we know. Multiple college.
Cousin Larry doing some metric math for us up in Canada here. The U.S. is 66 times the size of New Zealand. 66 times 13 is 858. U.S. had, 5,400 yesterday, I think? Well, let me find out. I will tell you exactly. Let's see. 54. No, U.S. didn't have 54,000 new cases yesterday. It was 44,000. Man, come on. That's a lot closer. That's 11,000 closer to whatever that number is that's now off the screen.
And universities announced that they would suspend in-person teaching.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
And we have learned.
Notre Dame just said, we're not doing this in thing. What was it? Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Chapel Hill, just outside of Raleigh, 20, 30 minutes outside Raleigh. Chapel Hill said, hey, everybody, back to school. And the kids came, and the dorms were at 60% capacity, and the classes themselves were at 30% capacity. And 6 days later, their positivity rate has risen from 2-point-something to 10-point-something. Woo! So they canceled school classes. They shifted to online. Notre Dame was like, we're not doing this. But yeah, 6 days, and they realized, I
learned one thing, there's nothing like campus, there's nothing like being with the teacher as opposed to being on a computer board.
On a computer board. A computer board. I I can't come to the dinner right now, Mom. I'm on my computer board. I'm doing the cyber.
It's been proven a lot better. It's a lot better. The iPads are wonderful, but you're not going to learn the same way you do by being there.
Wait, are we not boycotting Apple anymore? Are there computers by Goodyear?
So, nevertheless, certain colleges and universities have announced that they would suspend the in-person teaching. For older people and individuals with underlying conditions, the China virus is very dangerous, but for university students, the likelihood of severe illness is less than or equal to the risk.
Hunter Biden used to sit on a computer board and he had no experience whatsoever. That's the kind of criminal activity you're getting out of that treasonous Joe Biden.
Of a seasonal flu. A seasonal flu.
A what?
And
what did he say the first time?
The China virus is very dangerous, but for university students, the likelihood of severe illness is less than or equal to the risk of a seasonal flu.
If you look at it, I mean, and the number of students who end up dying from this is relatively few. That's the way it is.
A seasonal flu. And the seasonal flu happens and comes and it goes, and it can be very bad, but people don't talk about it in the same way, and they shouldn't. But if you look at that, the odds are
what?
Less than or equal to. Instead of saving lives, the decision to close universities could cost lives. It is significantly safer for students to live with other young people than to go home and spread the virus to older Americans. Make sense? And the shutdown thing is causing...
I just wow, I have a smorgasbord of Trump flu. I searched flu. Look at this. This is all Trump-related flu quotes. So if you see something on there that you can read, let me know and we'll play it. Here's one. This is Trump.
Okay.
On the jobs reports numbers.
Do you guys ever stop? Do you want to keep going for a little while? Huh? I mean, do you ever stop? How many times you ask? And in many cases, it's the same. Actually, a lot of good questions. Go ahead.
In the jobs
But keep going, yes?
Yes, sir.
So you're not going to blame me that I kept it going too long? People said, oh, he kept it. Every time you'll ask it. No, I mean, no, it's amazing. Tony, every hand went up. I thought we've gone through.
Oh, Tony's there. Remember Tony?
I think every single hand went up the last time. You know what it shows you? It shows you that you love what you do. Go ahead.
We do love what we do. Sir.
You do. No, you do. And some of you do it well. Not all of you. Go ahead. I'm not looking at you, by the way.
So we did get the jobs reports numbers yesterday. Obviously, that's kind of a small portion because it's only the first half of March.
Yes, I think.
Was there anything in...
This is April 4th or 5th. Let's get to the quote I'm actually looking for.
Incidence of flu. Flu's a big deal also. And that flu might be cut down in half. Who knew that shaking hands was such a bad thing? I felt it. I mean, I always felt it. And, you know, I was never to a point where I can't shake somebody's hand. I knew people like that too, but there weren't too many of them. But when I ran for office, all of a sudden I'm shaking hundreds of hands. And if I don't, I wouldn't even be standing here. But I think that's a custom that maybe people don't have to. We have to get close together. We have to sit together at the stadiums. We have to sit next to each other and restaurants. All that stuff is going to happen. But I think the concept of shaking hands maybe is something that's going to be a little bit from the past. Let's see what happens. Maybe they'll go right back to shaking hands. But I decided if you don't shake hands, you're not going to be winning a lot of contests. Right now, I'm not sure you have to shake hands anymore. A couple of people have told me, Deborah, you told me, that if we didn't shake hands, the incidence of flu's a big deal also. And that flu might be cut down in half. Who knew that shaking hands was such a...
Who knew that shaking hands might cause the flu? Who knew? No one knew. If Trump didn't know, you didn't know. That's for sure. Who knew that? Who knew? How could anyone have known that who didn't have a doctorate?
Tremendous depression for those places that are still shut down. You look at certain areas that, in all cases, Democrat run, still shut down, and the numbers there aren't even good. But
remember, Trump didn't know that the flu actually killed people. his own grandfather, but he didn't know, or great-grandfather. Somebody in his family actually died of what people think was the flu, but he didn't know. He didn't know that people could die from it.
Causing tremendous depression, suicide, drugs, alcohol, abuse. A lot of problems are being caused. Probably far more, I would say, Scott, than is caused by the virus itself, now that we understand the virus. Colleges should take reasonable precautions. Students who feel sick should not attend class and should limit social interaction as they would for any other illness. And universities should implement measures to protect the high-risk students or professors and teachers. The ultimate goal of testing is to prevent transmission in high-risk settings and to prevent transmission, period, but especially in nursing homes, and to care for the vulnerable and our elderly, which really fit into that definition of who is vulnerable. We have tremendous unused testing capacity in our country. We have a tremendous unused testing capacity.
Well, yeah, when we don't have enough equipment and or reagents, that's what happens.
It's something that a lot of other nations are very impressed with, they tell us. In our path forward, we will continue to follow a science-based approach to protecting the high risk while enabling healthy Americans to safely go back to work and school. Our country will be open. Our country is getting open quickly. Our stock markets are almost back to where they were prior to the China virus disaster coming in. And I want to thank you all for being here, and we'll take some questions. Yeah, please.
During the pandemic, the QAnon movement appears to be gaining a lot of followers. Can you talk about what you think about that and what you have to say to people who are following this movement right now?
Well, I don't know much about the movement other than I understand they like me very much.
That's all you need to know, really.
Which I appreciate.
I mean, the whole sex trafficking of minors and drinking of the blood of children, that's all really minor stuff, as long as they're fans of yours.
But I don't know much about the movement. I have heard that it is gaining in popularity, and from what I've heard, these are people that when they watch...
They're funding Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, Alzheimer's.
The streets of Portland, when they watch what happened in New York City in just the last 6 or 7 months, but this was starting even 4 years ago when I came here.
Wait. This is a question about QAnon, and suddenly we're talking about Portland? How did that happen?
Here, almost 4 years, can you believe it? These are people that don't like seeing what's going on in places like Portland and places like Chicago and New York and other cities and states. And I've heard these are people that love our country and they just don't like seeing it. So I don't know really anything about it other than they...
In summary, QAnon love our country, love Trump, and don't like what's going on in Portland. That's all really you need to know about Al-Qanon.
They do supposedly like me, and they also would like to see problems in these areas, like especially the areas that we're talking about, go away, because there's no reason the Democrats can't run a city. And if they can't, we will send in all of the federal, whether it's troops or law enforcement, whatever they'd like, we'll send them in, we'll straighten out their problem in 24 hours or less, okay?
Well, at the crux of the theory is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Does that sound like something you are behind? Or
well, I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing or a good thing? I mean, you know, if I can help save the world from problems, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put myself out there, and we are actually. We're saving the world from a radical left philosophy that will just
Cannibalistic pedophiliac gang? Is that what the radical left is? Are they left-leaning?
destroy this country, and when this country is gone, the rest of the world would follow. The rest of the world would follow. That's the importance of this country. And when you look at some of the things that these people are saying with defund the police and no borders, open borders, everybody just pour right into our country.
I didn't realize it before now, but we need QAnon. We probably need Arlon, Essanon, T-anon, S-T-Q-R-S-T-U, V-anon, U-anon.
No testing, no nothing. You know, you talk about testing, no testing. Mexico, as you know, has a very high rate of infection.
Wait,
the
who has
wall
no
is
testing?
now, and no borders, open borders. Everybody just pour right into our country. No testing, no nothing. You know, you talk about testing, no testing.
So without QAnon, no testing. You talk about testing, no testing without QAnon.
Mexico, as you know, has a very high rate of infection. The wall is now going to be next week 300 miles long.
No cannibalism. Canifa?
Our numbers are extraordinary.
Anon, says Rob. True.
On the border. Had that, and this is through luck, perhaps, more than talent, although the talent is getting it built when one party refuses to allow it. You don't hear talk about the wall anymore. But I will say this.
He's been talking about the wall nonstop.
We need strength in our country, not weakness.
There. Oh, that's the key right there. Oh, when he said seasonal flu, I can't even say it. This is why I'm not president. When he said seasonal flu, he was talking. That was a code message, because he purposely makes mistakes, and that code message was going out to QAnon. That's what you people don't understand, sheeple.
Too much weakness. Yes, John.
Mr. President, you have been very bullish on the promise of convalescent plasma to treat coronavirus. The FDA appeared to be on the brink of issuing an emergency use authorization for convalescent plasma, but after hearing from top officials at the NIH that there wasn't enough evidence to go ahead with that, the FDA has put that on pause. Your reaction to that, and do you believe that convalescent plasma should be in the arsenal of treatments for coronavirus?
Well, I hear great things about it, John. That's all I can tell you. And it could be a political
On and on. Thanks, babe.
decision, because you have a lot of people over there that don't want to rush things because they want to do it after November 3rd, and you've heard that one before. But I've heard fantastic things about convalescent plasma.
So the FDA is deep state. And he doesn't know anything about QAnon. Doesn't know Bill Gates anon.
And I've heard numbers way over 50%
FDA anon.
success. And people are dying, and we should have it approved if it's good. And I'm hearing it's good. I heard from people at the FDA that it's good. So we'll see. I'm going to check that right after this conference.
My understanding that the White House will
It's been in the news all day, but I don't know. What the hell has he been doing all day? Oh, that's right. He was angry at Goodyear.
encourage the NIH and the FDA to get this out there as quickly as
Well,
possible.
the numbers are as good as I'm hearing. I mean, I'm hearing over 50%, and that's very good. And
Here's the deal. You give the people a treatment in a disease that has about anywhere between a 1 and 4% fatality rating, just depending on how many you're testing. And 95 to 97% of them recover. They're going to recover anyway. I hope that cosmetology plasma, I hope that it works. I hope it's great. But the FDA has looked at that and said, well, we really don't have a basis for saying that this does anything. So should we be wasting time with this? And they decided not to. Non is against everything, David. That is absolutely true.
approved. Certain things are at 31%, and that's okay too. That's not bad, and it's really had a
Hold on.
tremendous impact.
Wait a minute.
And the FDA
Certain things are at 31%?
to get this out there as quickly as
Well,
possible.
the numbers are as good as
That sounds too high or too low. I have no idea.
I'm hearing. I mean, I'm hearing over 50%, and that's very good. And we've approved certain things are at 31%, and that's okay too. That's not bad, and it's really had a tremendous impact. No,
Oh, so that's good. 31% is right where you want things. You know, like his base. 31%.
I have. You're telling me something right now that surprises
At random, you take those tires off right now.
me, but we'll check it out right after this.
Yes, I looked. Trump has on the Beast, on his armored limo, there are Goodyear tires.
Concerned about a delay?
I don't want delays. I don't want people dying. I don't want people dying. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, I want to ask you about your tweet earlier today on Goodyear. It was
Yes.
essentially calling for a boycott on Goodyear tires. Do you want the federal government to stop buying and using Goodyear product as well? And is there
Well, I'm
anything?
not happy with Goodyear because what they're doing is playing politics. And the funny thing is the people that work for Goodyear, I can guarantee you, I poll very well with all of those great workers in Goodyear.
So I'd like to take their jobs away. That's what would happen in Ohio if I Rob Lee Antiphanon. That actually has a ring to it. We need that on our shirts. Antiphanon.
And when they say that you can't have Blue Lives Matter, you can't show a blue line, you can't wear a MAGA hat.
You can't show a blue line, a red line, a goal line. That's offsides. That's icing. That's high sticking, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I say? I say puck Goodyear.
But you can have other things that are Marxist in nature. There's something wrong with the top of Goodyear. And
That did not come from the top of Goodyear. He's railing against some Goodyear somewhere. I sent out an email to employees or something that said like, "Hey, Black Lives Matter. That's not a political statement. That's for civil rights and equal justice. So that's fine. But you can't have MAGA hats." That was what really upset him. And that's what his tweet said, is about MAGA hats. You can't wear a MAGA hat, a Make America Great hat at work. Which, if you've ever had a job, what's it like? But a lot of jobs don't let you wear certain clothing. And I thought about it as, like when you go to a Goodyear dealership, they're all wearing Goodyear stuff. I don't remember a lot of non-Goodyear related hats. Like I don't know what Goodyear this is. They're all running around in concert t-shirts.
what the radical left does is they make it impossible for people to do business if they're Republican or if they're conservative. They put out all sorts of effort, don't shop there. They do vicious things, not so different than what you saw on the streets of Portland 2 nights ago.
Boycott do you envision?
Oh, I don't know. That's up to people, but I wouldn't recommend it. If they want to hold political speech, if they want to let you not do what everybody's doing, if they want to wear a MAGA hat, or if they want to wear a Blue Lives, you know what Blue Lives Matter, right? That's policemen and women. That's a terrible thing. That's a terrible thing. So they're using their power over these people, and these people want to.
Yeah, who's running around the office? Good point, Alberto. In an office setting, how many people are wearing hats in an office setting? I mean, yes, if it was 1952 again, sure.
Wear whatever it is that we're talking about. You know that. And so I would be very much in favor if people don't want to buy there.
I also like Meganon. That's good. And a wonderful character in the Transformer series.
And you know what? They'll be able to get a good job because we set a jobs record over the last quarter, as you know, the most jobs ever in the history of our country. You'll be able to get another good
Most jobs recovered.
jobs. I think it's disgraceful that they did this. Please, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. President, you've said that the arrest of Jimmy Lai in Hong Kong is, quote, a terrible thing. Do you have a message for Jimmy Lai? Has your administration spoken directly with him? Is your State Department working for
Is that OAN already? OAN Anon.
his release?
Well, I send him best wishes. I hear he's a wonderful gentleman. He's certainly a brave man. And I send him best wishes. With that being said, because of that and obviously what happened in Hong Kong, we've taken.
I also sent Ghislaine or Galanon. I also sent her best wishes. David Duke, best wishes. Everybody, really, best wishes. So he's in rarefied company.
In all of the vast amounts of money that we use to subsidize Hong Kong. We essentially subsidized Hong Kong by giving them all sorts of incentives. And that's what made Hong Kong, the exchange and business in Hong Kong successful. I've taken it all back. That means that the United States is going to do a lot more business. You know, we really gave them tremendous incentive and subsidy in order that they be successful for freedom. But now that the freedom obviously seems to have been taken away, we will keep all of the incentives that we were giving them, which is billions and billions of dollars, and all of that business will come into our country, including the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ, and it'll all come here. But I feel badly for him because I hear he's a good person. I don't know him, but I hear he's a good person, obviously a very brave person. Did you have something? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. With the Iraqi Prime Minister coming in tomorrow, what about the Iraqi Prime Minister is coming in tomorrow to meet with you, and how do you...
We've talked about this before. Trump is completely incapable of ever admitting falsehoods. Most people would say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Apologize, or say, I beg your pardon. Or even, what? It's always, say it. Say it. Say it, say it, say it. Who says that? Who says say it? Trump is the answer. He's the one who says, say it. Excuse me? I'm sorry. Please, excuse my lack of hearing of what you're saying. That's on me. No, never on Trump. Say it.
Feel about this notion that Iraq can once again become the buffer?
Oh, that's OAN. Is this her second question? But was he talking to OAN? What does it matter?
Between Iranian influence and Russian influence.
Let's
tomorrow.
Let's go back. Let's listen to the cute, like OAN Anon always. It builds. It starts and then suddenly Obama.
About the Iraqi Prime Minister is coming in tomorrow to meet with you, and how do you feel about this notion that Iraq can once again become the buffer between Iranian influence and Russian influence in the Middle East? Do you feel that under this Prime Minister that's possible once again? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, this is a man that I get along with very well. We're largely out of Iraq. We're down to...
You know, like when Saddam was there.
Very few soldiers. I said we're getting out of these endless wars, these ridiculous endless wars. We should have never been there in the first place. I think it was the worst decision made in the history of our country. Should have never been there in the Middle East.
I thought that was NAFTA.
East we should have never been. But we're getting out rapidly out of, over the course of 3 years. In getting out, it's very sticky getting out, and some people agree, and many people don't agree, but I think most people very much agree. We're doing very well in our negotiations with Afghanistan. We're getting out. We're down to a much smaller number of people left there. And, I greet men and women coming home and coming home after they've been hit. I've also greeted many at Dover, greeted many bodies coming back in. And we've been there 19 years, and we're basically policemen. We're acting as police as opposed to soldiers. And they're going to have to police their own states. And they've been doing that for thousands of years. But it's time after 19 years that our soldiers come home. They've done an incredible job, but, they're not allowed to fight to win. And maybe they shouldn't be, because a lot of the people, it's not their fault. But with the Taliban and with going to Iraq again, we're down in Afghanistan, very low numbers, and that'll be taking place, and I let them know, do anything and you'll be hit like you've never been hit before. So we're doing very well. Syria, the same thing. Remember when I took all of the soldiers off of the border between Syria and Turkey, right? And everybody said, oh, that was 2 years ago. It was a long time ago. They said, oh, this is terrible, terrible, terrible. We're going to leave. Why do we have our soldiers?
And hundreds of Kurds died because of it. Yeah, so kind of terrible.
Between Syria and Turkey. Turkey can definitely take care of itself. I have a very good relationship with President
Erdogan,
and Syria's been fighting for...
He got it right. It's about half and half.
Forever. And I say, why are we guarding their border? And I brought our soldiers back home. I got them out, and guess what? Nothing's happened.
The soldiers didn't come back home. The soldiers.
They've been fighting like they have been for 1,000 years, okay? Nothing's happened. And nobody mentions that. Everybody said this is going to be a disaster. There's no disaster. Nothing's happened. And so we're getting...
Well, I guess for the dead Kurds, nothing's happened.
Out of the endless wars, and we are building a military the likes of which the world has never seen. $2.5 trillion we've spent, and we hopefully don't ever have to use it. But we want to focus on a much bigger picture, because we have a much bigger picture. It's when you look at what China's doing, when you look at what Russia's doing, when you look at what some other countries are doing, we want to be ready just in case there is a catastrophe. We don't want to see that. We don't want to ever use it. We've rebuilt our military.
I think he's talking about the nuclear?
New missiles, new rockets, and new tanks, and new everything. $2.5 trillion, all made in the USA. And we've upgraded incredibly our nuclear capability, and some of our nuclear needed nourishment. It needed new strength, and
nuclear needed nourishment.
We've
Is he advertising nutraceuticals?
Upgraded it very, very significantly. I mean, to a level that nobody would even believe. And hopefully we don't. You pray to God we never have to use it. Okay? But we've never been in a position where we've been this strong. Please.
Mr. President, thank you so much. I wanted to ask you about the Middle East. I have a couple questions. You mentioned that other countries are interested in following suit
Yes,
after the
having to do.
Is she really going to ask which other countries? I really hope not, because we're not going to get an answer here.
With UAE and Israel.
Exactly. So
Correct.
do you expect that Saudi Arabia will join? And
I do.
Yes. And also the Emiratis have expressed interest in the F-35. Do you think that that should be something that they could look forward to in the future? Is there some sort of time delay?
I think, look, they've definitely got the money to pay for it. You know, it's nice because usually a lot of times we make deals, they don't have 10 cents, these countries we deal with.
Hopefully you never have to use the nuclear nutrition again, unless perhaps there's a big hurricane.
We give it to them like, how about paying us back later? But they never pay because they don't have the money. No, they have the money, and they would like to order quite a few F-35s. It's the greatest fighter jet in the world, as you know, by far. Stealth. Totally stealth. You can't see it. Makes it very difficult. I was asking a
I have one right here behind me. It's on the tarmac like Air Force One.
pilot,
You can't even see, it's a stealth airport. You can't even see any of it.
what do you think is better? This one, that one? Talking about Russian planes, Chinese planes. He said, well, the advantage we have is you can't see it. So when we're fighting, they can't see us. I say, that sounds like a really big advantage to me. To these guys.
Haha, Producer Joanna. Invisible like his clothes. Yeah. Good looking tie, though.
You know, they look, by the way, I said it to these pilots that I meet, they look better than Tom Cruise, and they're definitely tougher.
Are they from Central Casting?
And he's a nice guy. But these people are amazing, and I speak to them a lot about it. What do you think?
Yeah.
You know, as I go around to the various places, I saved the big one in Florida as an example. That was a big one, knocked down pretty much by the hurricane. So I spent.
Is he talking about Cape Canaveral?
Spent a lot of time on that, and it's the greatest plane in the world. One thing about that kind of thing, technology, high technology, the greatest plane doesn't last long. Somebody comes up with something else, but we're always the one to come up with something else. So, yeah, they'd like to buy F-35s. We'll see what happens. It's under review, but
They might buy F-36, F-37s. I've heard they might go as high as F-38, but I don't want to say anything, or those people out there. It's like the Academy Awards.
made a great advance in peace in the Middle East. Even the New York Times thought it was an incredible deal. Can you imagine that? Tom Friedman had a very nice thing to say about it. I spoke to him about it. He thought it was terrific, and it is terrific. I see a lot of countries coming in fairly quickly, and when you have them all in, ultimately Iran will come into. There'll be peace in the
It'll be so totally different than the other 6 peace accords in the Middle East that we've had.
Middle East. That'll be nice. Iran will be very much neutralized. They never thought this could have happened. And with the horrendously stupid Iran deal signed by Obama, this could have never happened.
Please, there's so.
On the Goodyear issue.
Okay, there was a peace agreement with Iran. But okay.
You ride on Goodyear tires in the presidential limousine.
Correct.
If there were an alternative, would you want those tires?
YouTube and basically, guys, don't swear on the YouTubes. YouTube's been wacky the last week and a half, so if you're going to swear, you're probably not going to get let through. But thank you, Dr. Howard, for trying. She's moderating for us today.
Swapped out?
Yeah, I would do that. I would swap them out based on what I heard. We'll see what happens. Look, you're going to have a lot of people not wanting to buy that product anymore, and they'll buy from a competitor. Made in the USA, too. Okay, please. Go.
Mr. President, excerpts from Obama's speech that he'll give later at the Democratic convention show that he says that he hoped that you would take being president more seriously once you had the job and discover reverence for democracy. And then he said he hoped. What is your reaction to that?
You know, when I listen to that and then I see the horror that he's left us, the stupidity of the transactions that he made. Look what we're doing. We have our great border wall. We have security. We have the UAE deal, which has been universally praised by people that aren't exactly.
What means reverence? The horror. The horror.
Fans of Donald Trump for various reasons. I don't know why. Can't be my personality, but they're not fans, right? And when I look at what we have, and I look at how bad he was, how ineffective a president he was so ineffective, so terrible, slowest growing recovery in the history, I guess, since 1929 on the economy. Don't forget, until the China virus came in, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world. And
not true, not even close.
now we're doing it again. I'm going to have to do it a second time. We're doing it again. Hard to believe. We're doing very well. You heard the numbers. They're way, way down on the virus. But when you look at the kind of numbers that we're producing on the stock market,
44,000 new cases, 1,300 deaths. The numbers, the deaths, which are really the numbers that they were concentrating on 3-4 weeks ago. Again, you have the Koyo effect. When cases are up, we talk about the deaths going down. When the deaths start going up, we talk about the cases going down. Look at the thing that's going. Look at the thing that's going. Look at the thing that's going down. Look at the thing that's going. Squirrel. Good year.
we're almost at the level. In fact, NASDAQ and S&P are higher than they were at their highest point prior to
what squirrel now?
The China virus coming and the plague coming in. Now, President Obama did not do a good job, and the reason I'm here is because of President Obama
being black
and Joe Biden. Because if they did a good job, I wouldn't be here. And probably if they did a good job, I wouldn't have even run. I would have been very happy. I enjoyed my previous life very much. But they did such
You can go back to it anytime, buddy. It's all yours.
a bad job that I stand.
I know you've got that tax audit that's been plaguing you for a few years now. You know, that 6-year tax audit that you ought to get back to that. Do you get it? Because I said you audit, get back to that, but it's like oughta, because he's had the tax audit for 6. So I said you audit, get back to the.
And before you as president. Thank you all very much.
Donald Trump at the White House.
I hate
wrapping
this
up
house.
this.
I hate this house. Okay, so that was that. That was your tax dollars at work right there. Let's see what else we got cooking in the bacon. Oh no, I closed it all. Hold on. Coming back. Some of you have asked, by the way, that's Kevin Lee's son there playing hockey in the background. I don't trust that kid. Something about him. Let's go to, he did an interview with Fox. You guys want to keep going? Should we wrap it up and come back later? By the way, sorry, I couldn't broadcast yesterday because I didn't want to. No, I had 3 auditions yesterday, so it was a pretty good day. Let's check my email and see if I've gotten anything yet. No. Actually, I didn't just check. Let's go to Fox and Friends from yesterday. Fox and Friends. Fox and or Friends. Here we go. And yesterday, love was such an easy game to play.
Now, stay tuned for Fox and Friends' big show coming up. Bye-bye.
Oh, big show. Hold on. Was this the one?
Welcome to the 2020 Democratic.
Oh, be quiet. Was it yet? Wait, what day is it? I don't even know what day it is. There is a Kayleigh Mack. No. I think it was Monday that I'm looking at the wrong day here. You guys want to do Kayleigh Mack? What do you want to do? Do you want to do the Fox interview from Monday? I haven't listened to that. Or do you want to do Kayleigh Macaroni from earlier today? You guys are on a 7-second delay, so I'll just sit back. I'm going to go get a drink. You guys decide. Kayleigh Macaroni from earlier today or Fox and Friends, the interview from Monday. Those are your choices right now. Dee Dee, come on over. I have some nutritious nuts, and you're like 5 minutes away from me now. Why she had to go, I don't know, she wouldn't say. I said nothing wrong, now I long for yesterday. I am pretty sure Mike Pence is gay. Doom, doom, doom. I really don't care what you have to say. Doom, doom. I don't know that it's even... Where is it? Kellyanne Conway. We saw Kellyanne Conway. Well, we didn't see Kellyanne Conway, but where's the press secretary? Press Secretary McInerney. I think this is just a clip. Is it? No, this is 17 minutes long. You guys want to watch the... Oh, hi, Shannon. How about the coronavirus press conference from this afternoon where a reporter asked him if he could believe the Q right? Oh, we just did that. That's what we just did, Shannon. I'll have to go back and check out the beginning. Yes, you do, Danielle. It was some of the best press conferencing we've ever done. Yeah, I know. By the way, I did get copyrights infringements on YouTube for 2 things. It was... You guys don't care. Anyway... here's Kayleigh Macaroni.
All great garages start from the ground up, and that begins.
Shut up! The ads are so loud. Frickin' C-SPAN. Skip that. There we go. Let's see how loud Macaroni is today.
Hello, everyone. Where is Nancy Pelosi?
Where is Nancy Pelosi? Hold on. Let's see if we can find this on YouTube because this is way too quiet. YouTuber. Okay, so let's go with Kayleigh. McEnany holds press briefing 8/19. Is that today? I think that's today. Yeah, let's watch it there.
There is a huge fundraising deadline coming up for Senate Democrats.
Right.
And they need your help right now if they're going to meet it.
Every dollar you give from now until the official FEC deadline
right.
will be triple matched.
Will it though? Who is triple matching all these dollars? And if you've got triple matching of all these dollars that I might give, why do you even need my dollar? The Trump campaign the other day had a septuple match. So for every dollar you give, 7 times that amount will magically appear. It's not true on either side. Triple matched. By whom? Who is triple matching these dollars?
Student loan payments, cutting
what?
the federal tax, which put...
Okay, this is super quiet as well. That might be. Hold on. Let's go see if actual Fox News covered this, because we might get lucky here. So this would have been 10:30. So we'd be looking at. Let's see. I really wish. These are scheduled recordings. These are recordings. Was it the 5? What time did the 5 start? The 5 started at 2. Oh, it wasn't the 5 then, obviously. Why can't I just do... Oh, this is... So, YouTube TV is kind of cool because it remembers things for 9 months and you can tape as much as you want, unlimited DVR. But the organization to it is absolutely terrible. The lead, it was before that. It's before Dana Perino. So it's 2 shows before Perino. It was probably outnumbered. Does that start at 10 a.m.? No, that starts at 9 a.m. So it's going to be outnumbered overtime. There it is. Let's see if they covered it. Outnumbered overtime. Let's just take a quick peek in here and see if Kaylee's in here somewhere.
We will see you back here at noon Eastern tomorrow.
You will not. Let's see. So going forward. Here we go. Yeah, okay. So we covered... They did cover Kaylee, so we're in luck because they will have moderated their volume.
Back to him.
Yes. Kaylee, the president said this week the only way we lose this election is if the election is rigged. It begs the question, does the president believe there's any circumstance under which he could lose the election fairly?
The president believes he's done a great job for the American people, and he believes that will...
Oh, hold on. I'll give you a link to the... let's see. This should work, Allison. Okay, here you go. If this link appears on whatever you're watching, Allison. Allison. Yeah, if you go to youtube.com/KevinLeeFather, and in Periscope, I think you can click links. Allison, if you can't click that link, go to youtube.com/KevinLeeFather. Everybody else that are watching, if you want to get involved in the chat, you don't have to. No one's pressuring you to chat, but all the cool kids are doing it. The way to do that, the best way, with the least amount of delay right now, the quickest chat is on YouTube. It's about a 7-second delay. Twitter or Periscope has about a 20-second delay. So you'll get your response and my response about info. It says info. They deleted my old Gmail account from work, made a new one, but it keeps trying to log on with my old info. I wish I controlled the cyber, but I don't. Let's get back to Kaylee. So yeah, youtube.com/KevinLeeFather.
So in November, he believes that voter fraud is real, in line with what we see all across the country, particularly with mail-in ballots, which are prone to fraud.
Yes, thank you very much, Kaylee. 2 questions for you.
So the thing about mail-in ballots and fraud is it's really, really easy to catch because there's a number of safety features. So let's say you are registered 7 times, like one individual was in Pennsylvania, and the state, for some reason, doesn't double check the name. That's on the state or the county. And this guy gets 7 ballots. If he votes with 2 of those ballots, he has committed fraud, and that's 5 years in jail minimum for that particular fraud. So it very, very rarely happens, because if he did vote twice, he would get caught. So sending him multiple ballots isn't really that big of a problem. It's sending dead people ballots, not a problem. But if the dead people vote, honestly, that's not a problem. That's a miracle. Then we're talking about a whole new church.
Firstly, given the president's tweet on Goodyear and lashing out at them, is the Beast still going to be using Goodyear tires?
I'm not going to comment on security matters.
Okay, and then I want to follow up with a question that I asked.
That's a good question. Is the Beast, the presidential bulletproof limo, is it still going to be using Goodyear tires? It does. I looked it up. I found a picture of it, and it uses Goodyear.
President last week, but he didn't answer. I asked him about QAnon, so I wanted to know, have you ever heard the president talk about
Was the presidential conference just a replay of this?
QAnon, and what does he think of the conspiracy theory?
No, I've never heard of that. There's a lot of media focus on that, but certainly never heard of that from the president.
Yes.
Kaylee, just a follow-up on what my colleague said over there with regard to the president saying, make sure to get out and vote because the only way we're going to lose this election is if the election is rigged. Is the president saying if he doesn't win this election that he will not accept the results unless he wins?
The president has always said he'll see what happens and make a determination in the aftermath. It's the same thing he said last November. He wants a free election, a fair election, and he wants confidence in the results of the election, particularly when you have states like Nevada doing.
Well, looky here. I don't know if you've already said this, David, with Snopes. Snopes did a check of that, and here's the picture. So let's see if I can do close up. I sure can. There's your picture from Snopes.com. Yes, you can see in the corner here. I hope you can see the Beast. There's Melania and Trump, and right there, there's some Goodyear tires on the Beast. So, by the way, David, you're a graphic artist. Really working overtime here. You don't pay them enough. And by that I mean anything, is what I'm assuming, because don't. Right, back to the presser. Here we go.
Mass mail out voting to their voting rolls. And when they tried this in the primary, it was a massive failure. Ballots were piled up in trash.
Boy, I tell you what there, babe. Mailing on, rigging on with a little bit of pecorino, just shredded, and maybe a light dusting of truffle, black. You're looking at something delicious.
Cans ballots were pinned to apartment dartboards. And with that being the system, the president wants to take a hard look at this and make sure that these are.
I used to live in an apartment when I was at college, actually, and if mail got into the wrong box, or even if mail, they would get pinned on the. If there was something important, notices, whatever, they would get pinned. Wait, did she say dartboard or corkboard? Did she actually say?
Doing mass mail out voting to their voting rolls. And when they tried this in the primary, it was a massive failure. Ballots were piled up in trash cans. Ballots were pinned to apartment dartboards.
I want to live in an apartment where there's just community dartboards. Was that a college dorm? I think it was a college dorm. I want a dartboard. What apartment complex is this? And then your piles of voters and votes and ballots all over the shuffleboard. And sometimes you'd find them just 2 or 3 feet high on computer boards. They were everywhere.
And with that being the system, the president wants to.
That is not the system. Putting ballots on dartboards is not the system. But let's just say in this utopia of bar sports that these ballots are pinned to a dartboard somewhere. That's okay, as long as people don't take them, fake a signature somehow, because when you get your ballot, your signature's not on the ballot. You have to put your signature on the ballot, and if your signature doesn't match, the vote's no good. And also, you're risking 5 years in jail. You could literally kill someone at a bar and get less time in most states than doing a fake vote. But yeah, it's the dartboards.
Take a hard look at this and make sure that these are fair elections.
It's in a pool table pocket. Rich is with me here. You got it, Rich. Jukebox, other things about peanuts. Yeah, it's a bathroom with a funny thing for men on it. You guys aren't following me there. Don't follow me into the men's bathroom. Pro tip.
Election results and not subject to fraud.
So
yes.
Can you tell us if the White House has reached out to Pelosi or the Democrats to talk over the next?
Piled up on top of an 80s video game that inexplicably still charges 50 cents.
Couple of days about stimulus?
Yeah, so I have no updates on the personal conversations that we've been having, but what I'll say is this, is I know the speaker is interested in potentially a skinny bill with post office funding, but what we want here at the White House.
John, not at the better colleges. No, actually, there's new Dodge Dart, isn't there? What could mean? What could mean, John Diddybag? There's the old Dodge Dart, and then there's the new Dodge Dart that has absolutely nothing to do with the old Dodge Dart board. Not even close. I don't get it. I don't get it. I have a hard spot in my heart for Dodge Dart boards.
House is we're certainly open to post office funding.
Bev's doing, urinals were clogged with them. Yeah. That's your analysis, Bev.
We did, after all, offer that $10 billion that was turned down. So we're open to that. But what we want to see in there is relief for the American people who are hurt through no fault of their own. For unemployed Americans, we want to see enhanced unemployment insurance.
Yeah, I know. Well, the president took care of that 3 weeks ago. Yeah, coming up on 3 weeks ago. Now, the president took care with an executive memoranda, and I still haven't seen that additional money, which is weird. And my daughter still hasn't seen that additional money. Also weird. So, I mean, he signed that memoranda. Memoranda, Mum.
PPP, we want to see small businesses get taken care of. That money goes directly to payroll, so to pay workers and thus keep jobs.
I'm down with PPP Pelosi. I'm down with PPP Pelosi.
And we're interested in seeing stimulus checks go out to the American people as well.
On the post office, are you able to share if the White House is open to the
on the stimulus checks? Will they be put on dartboards as well?
$25 billion that the Democrats are proposing, or is $10 billion the...
And then Kaylee, not missing a beat, bullseye. Do you see? Because it's a dartboard, and so Kaylee's all like, bullseye, because there's bullseyes on the dart.
The cap. No, we don't have a cap. We're certainly open to looking at the $25 billion, but
we're not allowed to wear caps here at the White House unless they say MAGA on it, so we're boycotting Dodge and all the cars that they make.
We want included in there relief for the American people that thus far Speaker Pelosi has been entirely uninterested.
The American people will find their relief in urinals where they relieve themselves. Sometimes those urinals are so full of ballots that you're like, hey, I gotta hold it. Let's go play darts.
As this president has taken unilateral action to protect Americans subject to eviction, to protect Americans who are unemployed, to protect Americans via a tax cut through payroll deferral. So this president's taken action. Still, we're waiting on a reckless Speaker Pelosi to get back and do her job.
Reckless Speaker Pelosi. Remember when we had a White House where the other side didn't have to have a negative nickname all the time? How old are these people? Who put the idiots in charge of the asylum? Reckless Speaker Pelosi. There was, although somewhat dysfunctional, there was a modicum of respect, of basic, you know what? I'm not even going to call it respect. Just basic human civility in politics. Bad things were done, yes. Terrible things were said, yes. Accusations were made, yes. But not everyone had a nickname of derogatory nature. We didn't have to tell. You never had Obama saying the feckless John McCain. It wasn't done. And we've reached a new level of normality that I think overall is bad. Judges, I'm correct. It is bad. And that is the legacy of the Trump administration. And I really hope that the next administration can restore somehow that sense of what was okay? Normality? Just these people. I'm hoping that the American people let me correct myself. I'm hoping that enough American people living in enough swing states have seen what this president does and this administration and all the people involved with it and have said, you know what? I may not agree with all the policies of AOC, who's clearly running the Democratic Party. You know, the way that her squad of 4 was outvoted 211-4 on the immigration bill. You know how she's running the party and could only muster 4 votes. out of the entire House for her side. Puppet Master AOC. I hope that there are enough people in enough swing states who look at this administration and say, I may not agree with everything that Joe Biden has ever done or is accused of doing, but I want somebody decent in the White House. I would like that. My vote is worth the time because really everything is still the same. Many, many things have changed. Don't get me wrong, but government be government. What could mean things keep rolling along, and we're up against a debt ceiling. Remember that? Remember debt ceilings? Oh my God, we're up against a debt ceiling, and there'd be a countdown on the corner of the screen for the debt ceiling. And we gotta reach the debt. Oh, it's been, and then Pelosi won't. Oh no! And then the other guy, the Speaker of the House, the guy, and then the other guy before that, and then John Boehner. Oh my God, we got the debt ceiling. Oh, the debt ceiling. And Rich Limbaugh, and he's a whore. All of this is just generating revenue for both parties. But if things just keep rolling along like that anyway, why not have some decent human beings in one of the branches? I don't know. It's just my thoughts. Oh, they're correct. Thank you.
Yes, just to follow up on that, and then I have another question. Are there other things that the president could do in the realm of the executive action to address this problem with the Postal Service to ensure that they've got sufficient funding? Is there anything that he could do to sort of fill the gap?
So the post office does have sufficient funding through 2021, and they do currently have cash on.
Yeah, have Allison have the IT guy at your work there take a look at your computer board.
On hand. They've been given that $10 billion line of credit through the CARES Act, so that's important to note. And look, we're looking at the post office funding to do with Speaker Pelosi, but that must also include money for our hardworking Americans as well. And the president, just to understand.
Great. Absolutely. Here's what you do. Speaker Pelosi, get back on there Saturday and Monday, put a bill together, and it includes the money for the post office, and it includes money for the unemployed, and it includes money for the first line workers, $13 an hour extra of danger pay because they're putting their lives at risk. Put that together and put that out there. And make it very clear, this has nothing to do with blue states. This money goes to the people of Texas. This money goes to the people of Arizona. This money goes to the, you know what? Forget Texas. It's not a swing state. Or is it? It is.
Score this mention yet.
Anyway, get that out there. Get on every Sunday show. I don't know why the Democrats weren't on the Sunday shows this past weekend. I mean, take every advantage of the media you can, because this battle will not be won in the streets. This battle will be won on the channels and on the computer board. Get it out there. I'm getting catcalled. Kitty, come here.
Yesterday that he wants to protect postal workers. These are great, hardworking Americans, and he wants to make the post office solvent and to protect those post office jobs. And he mentioned Amazon needing to raise the price of packages for Amazon as a way to help the solvency with the post office.
Just follow up. So, with the recent agreement between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, there is great interest on the part of the Emiratis to purchase F-35s. What is the president's position on selling those high-end aircraft to the Emiratis at this point? And would that require congressional changes to remove the qualitative military edge that is guaranteed to Israel at this moment?
So we don't confirm or comment on proposed defense sales or transfers until they're formally notified to Congress. To circle back on your first point, too, about post office funding, I did want to highlight a piece that was written by Ruth Goldway, who's a retired chairwoman and commissioner of the U.S. Postal Regulatory Commission. I believe it was in the New York Times. And she said, quote, that the post office has access to about $25 billion in cash. Its own forecasts predict that it will have enough enough money to operate into 2021. So this notion that there's this emergency for which Nancy Pelosi needs to rush back to Capitol Hill to solve is a farce. It is false. The real thing that's happening here is Nancy Pelosi is feeling pressure from her members, from her constituents, because she's not delivered relief for the American people, and President Trump has.
Yes, Paula. Thank you, Kaylee. Today, the president encouraged Americans not to buy Goodyear tires, suggesting that they had a ban on MAGA hats, but it appears that their policy is just a ban on political speech. It's pretty common for most companies. So why is the president retaliating against a private company for their dress code and potentially jeopardizing American jobs?
So Goodyear needs to come out and clarify their policy. There was an image.
They did. They already came out immediately, and clarified.
It's a statement.
They failed to clear. Yes, I did see their.
That's not a black cat. That's a gray cat. Are you still talking to me? Come here.
Statements which still failed to clarify their policy. What happened is there was an image that was put out.
They didn't fail to clarify their policy at all. It was a very clear statement.
That showed that certain speech was acceptable, Black Lives Matter insignia, for instance, but what was not allowed was Blue Lives Matter. What was not allowed was MAGA hats. What was clearly targeted was a certain ideology. They have not denied that that image was presented at one of their facilities, and they need to come out.
Racial equality, racial justice, that is okay, but not political speech. That's pretty standard across the board right now. That's not that unusual. Did the president even reach out to Goodyear before he tweeted?
They came out and said equity issues. As far as I'm concerned, Blue Lives Matter is an equity issue. There have been police officers across this country that have been.
Did the president reach out to Goodyear before tweeting?
Targeted because they wear the badge. Look no further than Dallas, where 5 police officers died. So Black Lives Matter, an organization whose in their DC branch said Black Lives Matter means defund the police. One of their presidents in New York said, we will burn down the system. We all remember in 2015, the yelling of pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon at a Black Lives Matter rally. That speech is allowed, but Blue Lives Matter is not allowed. And I will stand at this podium and say Blue Lives Matter is an equity issue, and Goodyear needs to come out and acknowledge that. Yes. Well, so let me just address that. The reason he called for the boycott was over MAGA. MAGA is pretty much unanimous with Blue Lives Matter these days, if you've seen the endorsements. Yeah.
Hi, Kelly.
Did she say, hold on. I don't even want to say it if she did.
And Goodyear needs to come out and acknowledge that. Yes. Well, so let me just address that. The reason he called for the boycott was over MAGA. MAGA is pretty much unanimous with Blue Lives.
Unanimous? Not synonymous? Just unanimous? So all of MAGA, okay, well, I guess they're pretty much anonymous. Unanimous? Anonymous? What? Synonymous is the word we're looking for. Synonymous.
Podium and say Blue Lives Matter is an equity issue, and Goodyear needs to come out and acknowledge that. Yes. Well, so let me just address that. The reason he called for the boycott was over MAGA. MAGA is pretty much unanimous with Blue Lives Matter these days, if you've seen the endorsements. Yeah.
Hi, Kelly. Does the White House support rolling back those existing operational changes that Louis DeJoy has done at the Postal Service, like those mail sorting machines? He said he would pause the operational changes going forward, but do you guys support rolling back the ones that have already affected mail delivery?
So the president made his position clear on this yesterday, and it is making the post office solvent via Amazon, package rates being raised. It's important to note how this works. So for letters, magazines, catalogs, the post office can only raise prices by the rate of inflation, whereas with packages and commercial freight, like Amazon, they can raise those competitive prices. And the Postmaster General Louis DeJoy has proposed doing just that because we don't believe that Amazon should be able to push expensive packages to the post office and burden them further when they've already had issues with funding and push it there, but yet take advantage of the cheaper shipping. It's a business model that works for Amazon, but it's not one that works for the American people, and clearly not one that works for the post office.
What about the specific operational changes?
The president's made clear that Amazon, he thinks that's the best way to go, and I'll let him answer any further on that. Yes.
Thanks, Kelly. The president last night congratulated Laura Loomer for her primary win in Florida. He's also backed Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia. Both women have expressed anti-Muslim sentiments. Does the president endorse their views of Muslims, and does he believe that those views belong in Congress?
Well, the president routinely congratulates people who officially get the Republican nomination for Congress, so he does that as a matter of course. He hasn't done a deep dive into the statements by these two particular women. I don't know if he's even seen that, but he supports the Muslim community. He supports the community of faith more broadly in this country.
Yes. Thank you, Katie. The president said that cost has been a consideration in selecting the White House as the location for his acceptance speech on next week. And I'm wondering if cost, in terms of keeping costs down for security purposes, is a consideration when he's selecting when to travel to his homes in Florida and New Jersey.
Look, the president made clear that he wants to look at cost with regard to the convention. He always tries to, but the president is entitled at times to leave the White House, and he's done that just like every past president has. Yes.
Thank you, Kayleigh. Can you confirm that the U.S.-China trade deal phase 1 talks with Ambassador Lighthizer are still on track? And if so, do you have a date for those?
Yeah, so the trade representatives do speak, and the president has expressed his displeasure with China with regard to COVID and the pandemic. I don't have a date for any official talks, but it is safe to say, should they continue, it would be between the trade representatives. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, back to Goodyear for a second. Set the issue of the beast aside. When the president says don't buy Goodyear tires, get better tires for far less, is he imploring that to his supporters? Or is that the official policy of the U.S. federal government that the president is directing, saying, do not buy Goodyear tires going forward?
The president was talking to his supporters when he tweeted that in particular. And look, this president will never apologize for standing with law enforcement. He won't. He thinks it's unacceptable. If you can wear a Black Lives Matter hat, guess what? You should be able to wear a Blue Lives Matter one too, particularly when our police officers are targeted like they were in Dallas, particularly when David Dorn lost his life amid these riots. He will always stand against our police officers and Blue Lives Matter for some reason not being an equity issue, as Goodyear appears to maintain.
So for all the fleets out there that have Goodyear tires on them that inevitably need to be replaced, that is fine. Go ahead and purchase.
I haven't spoken to him about that in particular. You can ask him later in the...
That's a good question. Can the police have Goodyear tires on their car?
5 p.m. hour.
Yes, good enough. Thank you, Kayleigh. As the White House continues to spearhead its vision and its victories for Middle East peace, what commitments does the White House hope to establish with the visit of the Prime Minister from Iraq?
Oh, here's OAN, so here comes the book drop. Binder drop, sorry.
Yeah, so that visit, we're very much looking forward to that tomorrow. The president looks forward to welcoming Prime Minister Kadami to the White House. The U.S.-Iraq strategic partnership is based upon a common goal for a stable, secure, and prosperous Middle East, and Iraq is a key partner to the U.S. on a range of regional security issues, including the enduring defeat of ISIS. So all of those matters will be discussed tomorrow. Yes, John?
The president is...
Oh, she's going on from OAN. That's unusual. Usually she goes to OAN and it's a ridiculous question, and then she does the binder drop and walks away. So, wow, big day.
Been very...
My little KK's growing up.
Bullish on the potential of convalescent plasma.
So we are pulling away now from the White House press briefing.
So Fox is like, we thought she was doing it too. So this might be the end of what we've got here, kids. That's that. Let's listen to what Harris has to say, because I'm filling out a form on my other monitor. Hold on.
We have a few things we want to get to. There are a lot of news being made there, and we will hit that with our panel and discuss some of what Kayleigh McEnany was just talking about. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay close.
No. Dig nabbit. Okay, I'm in the middle of an unemployment form on the other monitor here, so I got to finish this. So I got to let you guys go. It's been an hour and a half today. It's been a pleasure. And President's doing more rallies. I'm not covering the DNC because DNC comes on during busy times for me. I like to go bike riding. That is true. That's my bike bell, which I was going to put on my bike, and then I didn't because it's more fun using it here. So I got to finish filming this. I don't know. We'll be back. I don't know if we'll be later today. What is it, 4:19 here on the West Coast? We'll be back either later today, unlikely. I am hoping to cover the RNC live because that's going to be way more entertaining. Oh, you know what, guys? I'm going to show you this because this was kind of nice. This was John Prine, who is a musician we lost, unfortunately, due to the COVIDs this past year. Let's see if I can find it. I think I put it together on this computer. I sure did. This is, get your Kleenex ready because this is, no, I don't want to do Billy Joel Madness right now. It's over. We have a winner. I don't know which song won. It was New York State of Mind against Piano Man. I don't know who the winner is. Don't spoil it for me. We will do that at another time, but I want to make more of a hoopla about that. This is touching. This is John Prine's last recorded song, and this was on Monday at the DNC.
Ocean as of blue, how I miss you in the morning light. Like roses miss the dew.
I haven't gone out and found the whole song yet, and I hope that YouTube doesn't give me a strike for that. That was Monday at the DNC, and that really sort of, first off, it's a beautiful song. I do want to hear the entire song, and it just sort of puts into light the number of people from all walks of life that we've lost. 170,000. And that's just the United States. That doesn't include the rest of the world, of course, where people, engineers, traffic cops, bus drivers, restaurateurs, tears all over the world have been lost to this disease. It's a beautiful piece of music. I don't know what else to say there. It moves me. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening if we don't speak again tonight. Thank you to everyone who joins the broadcast. If you'd like to support me, you can always send me some money right here. Right now, I don't even really care. I just miss everyone that we've lost this year. And God, I hope it stops soon. Find someone who's not wearing a mask and just say, you know, I'm wearing a mask for you. Would you do me the kindness of returning the favor? Or find someone whose mask is down and just say, oh, you got to do the nose or it's not really, I don't know. I'm not asking anyone to be that guy, but there's got to be more of us guys or nothing's going to change. We'll see you guys soon.